Okay, so good morning everyone. I am Soharjeric Azarcon Andal, and today in this topic we will going to render and tackle about those things about historical background of the document of the Corazon Aquino. Aquino's in his life during her term as a president of the Republic of the Philippines, and also and what happened in the presidential of Marcos and Corazon and their battle as a most influential politician in that time. Okay, so we will going now to tackle about that history. First, we will going to tackle about what is the history background of the Ferdinand Marcos and what is done or did in our country. Okay, so here we go. President Ferdinand Marcos. So start. Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law. At the time of 7:15 p.m. in the month and year of 1972, on September 23, President Ferdinand Marcos declared and announced all the Filipino live on the television that he had placed the entirety of the Philippines under the martial law. This marked the beginning of all 14 years period of man rule, which would effectively last until Marcos was exiled from the country. But the question is, why did Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law in our country or in the Philippines? Why? Based on my research and discovering those things about him, the late President Ferdinand Marcos on our country, the reason why Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law is because he want to eliminate or remove those increasing of civil strikes and prevent the threat of the communist soldiers or the communist rebels in that time or during his term as a president of the Philippines. And also, he want to eliminate or prevent the threat of the communist rebels to take over following a series of bombings at the Manila. Yes, during the term of President Ferdinand Marcos, there is so many people who want him to take down on his throne because they don't want Ferdinand Marcos as their leader because he is a dictator and uh, powerful and selfish. I don't know, something like that. And they want Ferdinand Marcos take down on his power and change the leader of the Philippines. That is Corazon Aquino. They want Corazon Aquino to be their leader of the Philippines. That is Corazon Aquino. Next topic. Ninoy Aquino was jailed for 8 years. So, Senator Benigno Aquino on May 8, 1980, political prisoner, a staunch critic of the Marcos administration, was allowed to leave for the United States undergo a coronary bypass surgery on the recommendation of his doctor at the Philippine Heart Center, where he was confirmed after suffering a heart attack. So, which means Senator Benigno Aquino Jr. had a heart heart disease or heart failure in his body. He's suffering like that kind of sick. In his prison cell in the Fort Bonifacio, he was immediately transported to the center on the evening of May 5, 1980. The question is, why Benigno Aquino, Senator Jr., was jailed or in prison? It because literally Aquino and Marcos are really against of each other. So during the Ferdinand Marcos as a president during his term, he imprisoned Senator Benigno Aquino for the case of he is violating and making a flip plan for the president government term. So that's why he imprisoned or jailed Benigno Aquino. Kung hindi nyo pa rin naiintindihan, ibig sabihin, kung itatanong nyo, no, bakit or why President Ferdinand Marcos jailed or imprisoned Senator Benigno Aquino Jr., it because dahil talaga ang mga Aquino at Marcos ay talagang magkatunggali o magkalaban sila during the Marcos term as a president of the Philippines. Well, based on my datos that I gathered also in Google, Benigno Sr. Aquino is a staunch critic of the Marcos administration, which means the meaning of staunch critic for my opinion, it is Senior Benigno Aquino is kumbaga gumagawa ng mga malililing mga anomalya para lamang patumbahin si Marcos kahit anumang mga salita o mga bagay na makakapagsira sa kanya para mapatumba siya at maalis sa pwesto bilang isang presidente. Presidential of the Philippines. So dahil kinulong siya kasi because against siya sa balak at plano ni President Marcos in or during his term. So kaya sa kinulong dahil ron. Next topic. Third, Corazon Aquino ran as the opposition's presidential candidate as opposition president candidate with Salvador Laurel as a running mate for vice president. So, in the late time, in the election of the Philippines, late 1986, so this means si Corazon Aquino ay tumakbo bilang oposisyon sa vice presidential na posisyon kasama si Salvador Laurel. Hindi si Salvador Panelo ibang prominent, joke lang. So okay, we will continue it. In the year of 1986 February, during candidacy for election 1986-1992, Corazon Aquino ran as a candidate of opposition vice presidential candidature with his mate Salvador Laurel as a running mate. But in a bad, unexpected clash, when the time Cory Aquino won for presidential election, his vice president Salvador H. Laurel, yes, when Cory Aquino won as the president of the Philippines, his partner Salvador Laurel won too, but as a vice president. Vice president ni Corazon Aquino si Salvador Laurel. Yun kung hindi nyo naiintindihan. And a bad unexpected clash when the time Cory Aquino won for a presidential election, his vice president Salvador H. Laurel accused the government of President Corazon si Aquino of corruption and competence today, and urge urge her to resign and call new elections or magpakuha ng bagong ihalal na mamumuno. So, ang dahilan daw kung bakit na nagtraidor or bumaliktad, dati magkakampi sila, si Corazon, Aquino, and Salvador Laurel. Ang dahilan nito, based on my research, si Laurel ay kumbaga hindi tumupad sa pangako, ignoring his promises. Nangako na susuporta dapat si Laurel kay Corazon. Pero ang kapalit nito, dapat mangangako si Corazon kay Laurel na gagawin siyang Prime Minister of the Republic of the Philippines. Ngayon, umupo na si Corazon Aquino as the President of the Republic of the Philippines noong 1986. Walang nangyari. Naging Vice President lang si Laurel. Which is yun ay kanyang kinagalit dahil hindi siya inahalal bilang isang Prime Minister ng Pilipinas. So nagalit siya or gumawa siya ng mga kritisismo para patumbahin o ibagsak na ang kanyang dating partner na si Corazon Aquino. So yun ang mga dahilan. Isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit sila nag-away. Next topic is the People Power Revolution. Okay, we're done. And next topic, we were going to tackle about the fourth topic, which is the People Power Revolution. February 25, 1986. People Power Revolution. The People Power Revolution, also known as the EDSA Revolution or the February Revolution. People Power Revolution was a series of popular demonstrations in the Philippines, mostly in Metro Manila from February 22 to 25 in 1986. There was a sustained campaign of civil resistance against regime violence and electoral fraud, accusing for President Ferdinand Marcos. Okay. So the main question here, why People Power Revolution are happened during the Ferdinand Marcos term or as a president, as a president of the Republic of the Philippines. Well, the cause or the reason why People Power Revolution happened, based on my research, after the assassination of Corazon Aquino's husband, that is Senator Benigno Aquino, that's Jr., he was assassinated in the airport at the Manila. Tinatawag na ngayong airport na yon na as a Ninoy International Airport. Kaya tinawag na Ninoy International Airport dahil doon siya pinatay. Based on my research. Okay, and then, pagkatapos na assassination o pagpatay kay Senator Benigno Aquino, binigyan sila or binigay kay Marcos yung panatang or accuse na si Marcos daw ang nagpapatay kay Simeon Aquino, si Benigno Aquino the Junior. Kasi kilala naman natin na ang mga Aquino ay magkantong gali laban sa Marcos. So isinisi sila kay Marcos ang pagkamatay or pagpatay doon sa airport na si Benigno Aquino. Well, wala naman tayo mapapagbihasihan kung talagang si Marcos nga ba ang nagpapatay kay Benigno. Hindi natin alam. Huwag natin magbigay ng mga payag dahil hanggang ngayon, ang case na tong patungkol sa pag-assassinate kay kay Benigno Aquino ay hanggang ngayon ay close pa rin. Hindi pa nila napapatunayan or hindi pa natapos ang case na yon. Hindi ko alam kung bakit yung close nila pero hindi natin alam. Yun lang. Huwag natin, labas tayo dun. So, yun lang. Para malaman nyo, ang People Power Revolution ay protesta lahat ng mga tao na sumusuporta kay Cory Aquino during the term of the President Ferdinand Marcos. Ayaw nila kay Ferdinand Marcos, itong mga anti-Ferdinand Marcos, anti-Marcos, kasi gusto nila si Cory Aquino ang mamuno dati sa Pilipinas. So that's why nagtipon-tipon sila, nagrally sila, yun yung napakamaraming tao. So yun yung People Power Revolution para magprotesta na pa, tumbahin si Marcos. Well, nagtagumpay nga sila. Napunta si Marcos sa Hawaii. Katangyan, angkin, mga angkan. So yun. Okay? Done. And the last one topic, the visiting of President Corazon Aquino in the US. Okay, as the last topic, okay, which is the fifth topic of our lesson today of my report. So, on September 1986, President Corazon Aquino visited in the US Congress. In this day, President Corazon Aquino, yes, pagtapos ng People Power Revolution, talagang napaalis nila si Marcos ng tuluyan. Nagsama-sama lahat ng tao, nagrally, napababa nila sa pwesto si Marcos dahil sa People Power Revolution, dahil sa pagmamahal nila at pagsuporta nila, malaking suporta nila kay Corazon Aquino at nahalal na bagong presidente ng Pilipinas ngayon, noong panahon na yon, na si Corazon Aquino. President Corazon Aquino, in a speech to joint session of Congress that 3 standing ovations, pledged Thursday to take up the sword of the war to end the bloody communist insurgery that has plagued the Philippines for 17 years if rebel leaders spurn her government's offers of peace, declaring that the revolution ever. Aquino also told cheering lawmakers that her nation deserves to be free from the slavery. Ibig sabihin, ang goal ni Corazon Aquino ay malinis o mabago ang Pilipinas at mabalik ito sa normal at maging ito ay malaya at maalis ito sa pang-aalipin. Hindi natin alam kung talagang si Marcos nga ay umalipin ang tao. Labas tayo na. Okay, so from the slavery of its devastated economy. And then, Corazon Aquino also appealed for both the US government and private investors to build a new home for democracy in the Philippines, now staggering under a 26 billion US dollars foreign debt. Just hours later, the applause translated into dollars by the government of our administration of Corazon Aquino. She go or visited at the US and make a deal, and finally US Congress gave Corazon Aquino a deal and a financial support for the Philippine recuperations. That's it. The White House approved on a 203 and 197 vote an emergency $200 million aid appropriation to help deal with the Philippines' economic distress. So, yun nga. After that moment, Cory Aquino managed those things now at her time that can solve and make country better as possible, and to influence the votes of the people to a favor, and to influence $1 million the votes of the people to favor the $200 million as a financial aid and also towards to rebuild the Philippine economy. Corazon Aquino wants to create or rebuild the Philippines economy as a good and better place or country. This speech was written by Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin Jr. So in this statement, at the last lesson, well, it is really understandable. After that, after Ferdinand Marcos kick on his power, now Corazon Aquino was a president of the Republic of the Philippines. And she visited on the US Congress and make a deal because at that time US don't also like Ferdinand Marcos. They don't like Ferdinand Marcos, so they make a deal. So I don't know what yes. Di, di natin alam kung ano yung pinag-usapan nila. Maybe pinagkasya nila si Marcos. Ayaw